The impact of perfect parents on children when love unintentionally becomes pressure. Hello everyone. Have you ever wondered if you might be placing too many expectations on your child? The line between wanting your child to become better and unintentionally creating overwhelming pressure can sometimes be very thin. We all know that having high standards and setting reasonable expectations can motivate children and contribute to their success. However, when those expectations turn into constant worry and controlling every detail to ensure your child follows the path you've laid out, it becomes a different story, the story of perfectionist parenting. So, how exactly does this perfectionism affect our children? Key points to understand. Before diving deeper into each aspect, let's quickly go over the key ideas. Parents who tend to be perfectionists often view their children through a lens of extremely high, sometimes unrealistic expectations. This not only places a heavy burden on the child but also on the parents themselves. An important truth is that perfectionism in parenting does not necessarily help children perform better. In fact, it can often make things worse. The perspective of perfectionist parents, when expectations turn into pressure. So, how can you recognize if a parent is leaning toward perfectionism in their parenting style? Let's take a look at some signs. First, a clear sign is when your child does well, but not exactly the way you wanted, and you find it hard to accept the result. It feels as if the child's path must precisely match the route you had mapped out. Next, you tend to closely monitor every aspect of your child's activities, from schoolwork and homework to extracurricular activities and even how they play. Everything seems to need to stay within your control and arrangements. You frequently apply pressure, whether visibly or subtly, for your child to complete every task as perfectly as possible. There's no room for even the smallest mistakes. Criticism tends to appear more often than praise or encouragement. You focus on what's lacking rather than acknowledging your child's efforts and achievements. Sometimes, perfectionism shows up as pushing your child to pursue dreams and ambitions that are actually your own, not theirs. You want your child to fulfill the unfinished dreams you once had. Your sense of self-worth seems tightly linked to your child's achievements. You only feel successful when your child succeeds, and feel like a failure when your child falls short. Lastly, even small events like a math test or a soccer match are viewed as life-changing events. The pressure from such moments becomes unnecessarily heavy. Unforeseen consequences. When perfectionism hurts children. This excessive expectation and control do not just affect how parents see their children. It can also cause deep and lasting harm to them. Let's explore the impacts. Growing up in an environment that demands perfection can make children believe that if they don't meet the highest standards, they are failures. They miss out on learning how to accept mistakes as part of the natural process of growth and learning. The pressure to be perfect can even backfire. For example, a child might resort to cheating in exams just to achieve high scores, feeling that parental approval depends more on success than on honesty. Research has shown that allowing children to make mistakes and learn from them, without fear of severe consequences, is critical to their healthy development. Even more concerning, perfectionism can be the root of serious mental health issues such as depression, anxiety disorders, or even eating disorders. Children struggle with the fear of not meeting expectations and a constant sense of inadequacy. Unfortunately, they often do not recognize these symptoms themselves or are too afraid to speak up, leading to a lack of timely intervention and support. Perfectionism is also closely tied to self-sabotaging behaviors like procrastination. Under the crushing pressure to perform flawlessly, a child might delay starting a task, ironically increasing their chances of failure and creating a vicious cycle. Another sad outcome is that when the pressure for perfection becomes too much, children may simply give up altogether, feeling they can never meet the goal of getting the highest grades or being the best athlete as expected. They might stop doing homework, lose interest in studying, or quit sports and other activities they once loved. Perhaps the most heartbreaking and visible consequence is the growing distance in the parent-child relationship. Perfectionism turns love into pressure, transforming the home into a place of stress rather than a sanctuary of peace. Children may withdraw emotionally to escape the control, or conversely, become overly dependent on parental decisions, losing their ability to act independently. If this situation persists without recognition and change, both parents and children risk emotional and physical burnout, leading to even more serious consequences for the future happiness and well-being of the entire family.